Hey everyone, thanks for tuning back in to mattsteinway.com. I've been reading a book called Outliers. This is the second time I've read it. Well, I didn't read it all the way through. I got up to about there, halfway through, last time I read it. So I've just started reading it again. And it's a really good book about success. And what this guy does, Malcolm Gladwell, I think he's a psychologist of some sort, but he wrote a book called Blink as well, and he studies why people are so successful, what's different about them, why do they achieve so much, and he breaks it down, which is quite cool. But in here, and this is what I want to talk about now, there's a thing called the 10,000 hour rule. And he talks about people who have achieved, what we would call massive success. And one of the things that, like, he talks about the Beatles, talks about Bill Gates, and one of the things that we don't see is how much work they actually put in to get there. And the 10,000 hour rule, I just want to read one bit to you about people who play musical instruments. They say here, there were three groups of violinists, and they went to a school or something, and they tracked them through their careers. And everyone from all three groups started playing at roughly the same age, around 5 years old. In those first few years, everyone practiced roughly the same amount, about 2 to 3 hours a week. But when the students were around the age of 8, real differences started to emerge. The students who would end up the best in their class began to practice more than everybody. It's Trevor. Began to practice more than everyone else. 6 hours a week by the age of 9 and 8 hours a week by the age of 12. 16 hours a week by the age of 14. 16 hours a week by the age of 14, and up until the age of 20, they were practicing, that is, purposefully and single-minded playing their instruments with the intent to get better. Mate, I'm recording a video. Yeah. With the intent to get better. So they were so focused, purpose-driven to achieve greatness in that area, all right? So it doesn't matter what it was, they happened to play a musical instrument, but they were practicing with the intent to get better, not just practicing to get good, they were practicing to get awesome. With the intent to get better, well over 30 hours a week, the best ones were putting in. In fact, by the age of 20, the elite performers had each totaled 10,000 hours of practice. By contrast, the merely good students had totaled 8,000 hours. And the future music teachers had totaled just over 4,000 hours. So there you go. So the 10,000 hour rule, and it goes on to talk about, more about this stuff, and then they looked at pianists and things. But the amount of, sorry, I just saw another bit. The people at the very top don't just work harder or even much harder than everyone else. They work much, much harder. I just want to say that again. The people at the very top don't just work harder or even much harder than everyone else. They work much, much harder. So what he's trying to do is say, we look at these people and say, gee, they're talented. And sure, they might have a certain ability in an area, but he goes on and talks about Mozart and all of these people. And none of them were just gifted in the area that they're in, and all of a sudden they track a lot of people, and none of them were particularly brilliant when they first started or even halfway through. Mozart took 10 years to write a song that was even accepted and good. So all of this we don't see of people. We just see when they when they reach the top or they're starting to gain massive momentum, we see that, but we don't see everything else that they've put in. So the 10,000 hour rule, he says, makes you an expert. At 10,000 hours, you become an expert at something. And he also says it takes about 10 years to get there. So the 10,000 hour rule takes about 10 years. Jason Boone spoke to our sales meeting recently, and the first 10 years of his career, he was really average. And then he said the next 10 years after that, he became really good. So this is why role-playing, and I've heard people say, you know, we go to appointments and we can sort of role-play with live people. That's not role-playing, that's stupid. And when I say it's stupid, if you're looking at that as role-playing, you're gambling with a lot of money and the opportunity of winning. People who become great at real estate or anything else that I know are so committed, you can just see it and feel it. They do more than everybody else. They move faster, they want it more, they're hungry as. And you can just see they just want to become great at it. There is definitely, like James Tosson said, there's a qualifying period in real estate. It's like 5 years. And why they say that is that's sort of when you start to build some really big traction. And it builds and builds and builds and builds. You just got to keep going. No one is born a gifted real estate agent, but you've got to want it if you want to be that. And that's why I wanted to share this with you, because sometimes there's an illusion that that person is better at it than that person. You know, I can talk about athletes till the cows come home, and they just practice more than everybody else and were so committed to it, they become great. They become world champions. And if you want to be the best in your company, the best in your area company, both, the best in the country, the best in the world, it's all in your hands. And the only thing that will make a difference is how much you role play and get great when you're in a listing presentation. And that gives you energy and confidence and all of this sort of stuff. People can just tell that you're not just practiced, but you're polished. And when you sound polished, confident and casual, people think that person knows what they're talking about. Then they come along with you. And the only way to get there is to put the effort in, put the practice in, and become greater and greater and greater every single day. And at some point in time, you end up at greatness. The 10,000 hour rule makes sense. All right, question of the day today. What do you think? Oh, how much do you role play? At the moment, how much are you role playing? Love to hear about it. Thanks for tuning in. And as always, helping make this real estate world a much better place. See you on the next video.